two gateways to Americas. Imagine arriving in America for the first time. One group walks through in a few hours while another is locked away for months. That difference wasn't random, it was based on race. This presentation compares Ellis Island and Angel Island to show how immigration in the United States was not experienced the same by everybody. These two locations created very different systems, one focused on entry and the other on restriction. By looking at both, we can better understand how immigration policy was shaped by race and how ideas of citizenship developed over time. Ellis Island, located in New York Harbor, mainly processed European immigrants between 1892 and 1954. For most people, the process was relatively quick. While there were inspections, the system was generally designed to admit immigrants. The National Park Service describes Ellis Island as the nation's primary immigration station and a symbol of opportunity. Because of this, it became known as the Gateway to America. Angel Island, located in San Francisco Bay, mainly processed immigrants from Asia and operated from 1910 to 1940. Many immigrants were detained for long periods and faced detailed interrogations. This was largely due to exclusion laws, specifically the Chinese Exclusion Act. Immigrants were often held for weeks, months, or even years. Unlike Ellis Island, Angel Island functioned more like a detention center, and immigrants even carved poetry into the walls to express their emotions. The actual experience inside these locations was very different. Angel Island, immigrants were both placed in wooden barricades that felt crowded and prison-like with limited freedom. Many were detained for weeks or even months like before, while going through intense questioning. On the other hand, Ellis Island had a large open space where immigrants moved quickly and efficiently. A major difference is that immigrants in Angel Island carved poetry into the walls, expressing fear, anger, and hope, which shows how stressful and isolating their experience was. A little bit into the art. On the left is a picture of Island 78, the only poem with a hidden message within the text. The first characters of each line says, "This island should be abolished." And on the right, Island 100, which is the earliest stated poem in the barracks, the 5th day of the 10th moon, which would be October 5th, 1911. Most of the 12 million immigrants who passed through Ellis Island were from Europe, especially Southern and Eastern Europe. According to research, immigrants during this time period came mostly from Europe, with large numbers arriving from countries like Italy, Russia, and Austria-Hungary. Smaller numbers came from regions like the Middle East and North Africa, while Asian immigrants was much more restricted due to the exclusion laws. This is important because it shows that Ellis Island mainly served Europeans. Unlike Ellis Island, where most immigrants were European, Angel Island primarily processed immigrants from Asia, especially Chinese immigrants. The majority of the people passing through Angel Island were affected by exclusion laws, particularly the Chinese Exclusion Act, like I said in the last one, while other groups like the Japanese, South Asians, Koreans, Filipinos were also processed. They made up of smaller proportions. This shows that Angel Island was not just an immigration station, but a place where certain groups were more heavily restricted based on race and national origin. Ellis Island had very low detention rates, with most immigrants processed quickly and admitted, and only about 1 to 2% deported. In contrast, Angel Island had extremely high detention rates, with some groups being like Japanese immigrants detained nearly 90% of the time and about 60% overall. Clearly, this shows that Ellis Island was built for entry, while Angel Island was built for restriction. The difference between Ellis Island and Angel Island show that immigration policies in the United States was not equal. European immigrants were generally welcomed, while Asian immigrants were often excluded and treated with suspicion. Historian May explains that immigration laws helped create categories of people who were seen as outsiders, stating that they produced illegal aliens as a new legal and social group. This history still matters today because it shows that immigration in the United States has never been equal. At Ellis Island, immigrants were able to enter quickly, while Angel Island, many were detained for months. That difference wasn't random, it was based on race and national origin. Immigration laws helped create categories of people who were treated as outsiders. These same ideas still influence modern debates about immigration, citizenship, and belonging. It raises an important question that we still face today. Who gets to belong in America? From Ellis Island to Angel Island, immigration wasn't about entering America. It was about who was allowed to be belonged.